Hello, and welcome to another Velvet Revolution. I believe we've reached a grand number of 21. This is our 21st episode. Yeah, welcome, Dave Noble. How you doing? What you been up to?
Hello, I'm all right. I'm good, thanks. Ben, I don't know why when you said 21, I had So Solid Crew, 21 seconds to go came into my head straight away, instantly.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Um,
It's a classic. It's definitely a classic.
it's an era. It's an
Mm.
era. If anyone's not sure what that is, look it up. Golden Times. Yeah. I used to know a couple of them dudes, man.
Did you?
Yeah, I used to live with a guy. Used to live with a lot of guys. I used to live with a guy who used to manage the Blazing Squad. Do you
Okay.
remember them?
Yep.
They were probably at your school. We actually got thrown out of a bar because they were all underage.
Right. Okay.
That's true story. Anyway, that's yeah. So anyway, I just knew a few of them through that kind of thing because they used to come over. Anyway, what was you saying? What were we saying? Oh, it's a check-in, right?
Is it
Yeah.
checking? I'm just checking how you are. What are you up
Okay.
to?
I'm tired. I'm really depleted, actually. I feel really mellow with it. You know, when you feel quite mellow tired.
Mm-hmm.
So my cup is full. I've been away from home for a couple of weeks doing the rounds. You were part of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's really lovely to see you in the flesh. And we had that amazing day out in London and we saw Mr. Cobain's guitar and his
Yeah.
cardigan and all of that stuff. That was amazing. Incredibly hot.
Yeah. It was a draining day because of the
Oh
heat, wasn't it?
God. But yeah, that was at the beginning of my round robin, so you got me fully energized. By the end of it, I'm completely depleted. Got back the other night. But it was really good because my cup is full. I've just seen a lot of people, done a lot of work, a lot of it successful people, and there's a couple of cases I was working on where a couple of lads are now connected to a solution to get well. So that's really amazing and great, and I'm really happy about that. And it ended on a crescendo because I booked in. I said about I'm going to go and do this drum ceremony
Mm-hmm.
and making a drum in the woods, and it was just incredible. It was amazing. I feel like you go and do it. Go and do it.
Okay.
I'll hook you up, man. It was
Yeah.
so good. Can I just show you my drum quickly?
Please do. Yeah.
It's a show and tell. Look, you see it?
Yeah. That's exactly the type of drum I thought you'd make. Yeah. Can't hear it. It doesn't.
Can't hear that. Why does that not translate through the mic?
I don't know. It's also not translating as a visual object to the people who are listening. It's a big round. It's got about 3 inches depth to it, 4 inches depth to it. Yeah, big round drum. It's nice.
Yeah. So, and my little tickler, my drum beater,
Yeah.
and I
Did you
and I
make that as well?
got I polished it.
You
I didn't
polished
put
it.
I didn't put the fur on,
Okay.
so it's all yeah, handcrafted. But we
Nice.
did it as a team, so I did about 80% of making everything. It was just so rewarding, and I was with a group of people. Oh, I was with a group of people who are just like, when you go on these sort of things, you've been on things.
Mhm.
You just end up with the right people.
Yep.
You know, it's just people gravitate to a space for a reason, whatever reason that is, and you're just with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
And you might have one or two that you might not really talk to all day, but there's always the one or the two or the little group pack. But I love it, man. And I've come back here and I feel quite like, oh, I'm on a bit of a come down, really. I feel emotionally exhilarated, mentally stimulated, spiritually rich, from that whole trip.
Mm-hmm.
Come back here, and my cup is full, so I feel great. I feel very tired and exhausted because of travel and seeing a lot of people, etc. And I've done a lot, but I feel quite sad as well. I feel like I'm
Mm-hmm.
grieving. I'm grieving. I feel like I'm in a grieving process because I come back here, and it's like, oh, it's just me and Rupert. If anyone doesn't know, that's my cat. Anyway, but on the whole, I'm really good. I'm tired. I've had a really good experience. Feeling a little bit sad,
Uh-huh.
but it's okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go out later and have a dive.
And be with people again.
Yeah, so it's all good. How are you? How are you?
Yeah, I am okay. Yeah, it's been another frustrating week. It feels with this wound and surgery that I've had, like it's been 10 weeks now. So I am totally done. I'm absolutely done, fed up with going to a nurse on a daily basis and getting this wound packed and just, yeah, it just controlling my whole life. And I was at the nurse's this week one day, and she said, yeah, on average, these wounds take about 6 months to heal. And she said, I don't want to freak you out, she said, but I have seen them take a year. And I'm just like, why have you chosen to tell me that now? Why have you chosen to tell me that in the 10th week? Like, when were you going to break that news to me? Like, why couldn't you have told me that at the beginning? Um, so yeah,
So
I'm just,
you're a third of the way through 6 months, if it's 6 months.
yeah, if it's 6 months. And no one seems to want to give me any answers. I can't get hold of the surgeon that did it. I'm just, so it's not, it's not debilitating. It's not, I'm not in a lot of pain, but it's just I've got to get this wound dressed every day. And if I choose not to get it dressed every day, that means I can't shower on the days I don't get it dressed. So it's just like, what? So it just means I can't do anything. I can't really go anywhere for a prolonged period of time. So there's no way I can, excuse me, go away on a holiday this summer. I had a couple of festivals booked, which, definitely not a good idea because festivals traditionally you don't wash very well anyway. So just, yeah, and I was thinking, well, September I'll go back to school and everything will be fine. And it's like, no, it might not be. So yeah, it's just really annoying. And I just wish it was over.
Can you do an impromptu? Well, whether it's an impromptu, I don't know, but like a Rambo style, do it yourself. Like sew it up kind of vibes.
Well, that's the whole problem. It would quite happily, the top would quite happily heal itself, but underneath that is a cavity, which is the bit that needs to heal. And it's just taking forever.
Translate this into creativity, man. Write your book.
Write my book.
It's a book.
Yeah, it's a book.
It's a metaphor. There's a story here.
Yeah,
There is. You already know
yeah,
because you've
yeah,
started to think about it. So
yeah.
be released when it's out. We'll pimp it out on here. Mr. Rice's tale.
Yeah, Mr. Right.
Mr. Rice's incredulous tale.
Sounds like a Beatrix Potter book, that one. Which animal should I be? Yeah.
A story of resilience. And then in comma, patience and tolerance.
Yeah.
or endurance.
Endurance. Yeah, that's
We
how it
covered
feels.
that. Did we cover that last week? Last time, last session. Tolerance was endurance or
Yeah.
just coping. I
Yeah.
don't know. Anyway. Oh dear. So on it goes.
So on it goes. It's just like, yeah,
Oh, man.
this I'm hoping by the time we get to a second season, we're not discussing my arse. It'd be really
Well,
nice not to have
if
been the overarching theme of the season.
if we are, you're gonna be doing it in a nappy. Oh dear. Okay. Well, other than that,
other than that, it's yeah. I am just existing in a very. I guess my world is quite small, and
Yeah.
that's part of the issue. You know, meeting up with you the other day and going into town, and even though it was blistering heat and absolutely sapping all energy, it was nice to be out in town again
Mm.
and do something. So I guess that's what I've got to do. I was talking to my sister yesterday about this. You know, let's just plan loads of day trips. Let's just go and do stuff. Let's go and see things.
Yeah.
It's just I can't go away to somewhere for more than a day.
Mm. Well, I'm a big believer, and it's not actually a belief, it's a knowing because I have the evidence. When you positive mental attitude
Hmm.
goes a long way.
Hmm.
I think everyone knows that if they've ever had that in their lives. So when I snapped my wrist skating,
Hmm.
I had an incredibly speedy recovery. And because I just thought, right, and I really sort of exercised PM, I was going to say PMT, PMA, positive mental attitude.
Yeah, yeah,
Of like, you know, I just I just really sort of looked at the wound. Now it's hard for you to do that because of where it is.
yeah.
But I looked at it and I thought, right, I'm sort of zapping it. Love sounds really cosmic, but it's true. Like love being the positivity of like, I'm gonna heal you. I'm gonna heal you. You're gonna heal. Don't worry. We're gonna heal together.
Hmm.
I'm gonna look after you. And I think that's without getting too deep, but I know a lot about because I'd have to deal with people that have self-harmed in many ways. Now, I've always said skateboarding to me is a little bit like that, where I'd
Hmm.
break myself. And the psychology behind it makes sense to me. When people
Yeah.
harm themselves, there's this underlying, possibly, I'm not saying this is true for everyone, but possibly, if you ever known anyone who has done that, or maybe it's you, I know it's true for me. It gives you a reason to look after something.
Mm.
It's almost like I'm going to break myself so I can then put all my attention into looking after that because in a way, it's a bit fucked up, but it's kind of like, you know, does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I could take that to an extreme in terms of like when my anxiety has been at its worst.
Yeah.
One of the things I'll do to try and distract my head is almost, like I'll pinch or I'll punch or I'll try and sort of get another part of my body to feel some pain
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and just to go, oh, right, now I'm focusing on the fact that I've just stubbed my toe or I've,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I used to do it tattoos.
yeah,
Now, I'm not saying everyone, and I wrote about this, I did, right? So
mm,
I'm not saying that everyone that's got tattoos doing this, but for me, when I used to be in acute pain, discomfort with my body or my mind or whatever, or my heart, for me, what perfect way to distract myself from it,
mm,
you know? And
mm.
there's a million ways to do it. So anyway, I'm not saying that's why you've broken your bottom, but but it gives us it makes sense to me anyway that you know that's not why I snapped my wrist, by the way. I didn't go and snap my wrist so I can go, oh, now I can just distract myself and look after my wrist for the next six
Yeah,
weeks. You know what I
yeah,
mean? But I can see why there would be a link between that.
yeah,
For some people that do harm themselves, it's like so they can then dress it and look after it. It's a focus point
mm,
because they don't feel they've got anything other than that in their lives. Maybe I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. No.
Makes sense to me. Anyway, so yeah, I think just zap it with, I'm going to look after you. We're in this together, and this too will pass. As annoyingly as that is to
Yeah,
hear,
that is, yeah, but it will.
but it will. Okay. So, Mr. Ice, it's your turn to pick. We're on the letter U for umbilical cord.
That's is that the first you could come up with?
I don't know, it just popped into my head. Maybe again, I've got an image here of an umbilical cord, and maybe what we was just talking about. I don't know.
Okay.
I've just
Yeah.
got to cut that umbilical cord.
Right. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, far too abstract. We're only
Yeah.
just getting going. Right. Okay. So use.
Use. There's
Uh,
quite a lot of them.
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I've
6,
not
7,
looked at
8,
this
9,
list
10, 11, 12,
for a
13,
long
14, 15,
time.
16, 17, 18, 19. It's about 20.
Yeah.
Right. They are unity, unthoughtful, unskillful, which I think we've covered quite a lot. Unkind, unreliable, useful, useless, untrustworthy, ungrateful, unsupportive, uptight, unsympathetic, unwilling, unassuming, unfaithful, unrealistic.
Oh,
So I'm
there's a lot of uns in there.
well, yeah, and I'm just trying to work out like, have we done great? Did we do grateful?
Yes.
So it's almost like we're doing this as like a sort of list of opposites, and I'm just wondering how many of them we've done in terms of
Yeah.
positives.
I think we did gratitude, didn't we? I don't know. I lose track, man, of what we've done. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tricky list because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did gratitude. Did we do kindness? No, we did karma for K. Unskillful, I feel like we talk about skillfulness all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'm sure whatever you pick, we can, break the box open
yeah,
and go wherever it needs to go,
yeah. It's a
Depth.
really tricky one. It's a really tricky one. Let's
Mm.
go.
What
Let's
takes
go.
your fancy, Mr. Ice? What takes your
Ungrateful.
fancy? Ungrateful.
Yeah.
Going with ungrateful. So we've got grateful, now we're going for ungrateful. So I'll redline that as done. Right, so we're going for ungrateful. There we go. So, Mr. Rice, Ben, why did you pick ungrateful?
Um,
What made you pick it?
I don't know why that jumped out to me.
There's 19 or whatever other ones in there, and you picked that one. Why?
Why am I feeling ungrateful?
Is that why you picked it? Because you
I guess
feel ungrateful?
I always think there's a subconscious as to why we pick the ones we do.
Maybe.
And why am I feeling ungrateful?
I mean, I guess what you checked in with could maybe suggest that you are feeling a little bit peeved,
Yeah, yeah,
to put it politely.
yeah. I think there is. I think there is an element of me at this moment in time that is really ungrateful for the situation I am sitting in. And I'm struggling to find the positives in it. I'm struggling to look at the the outcomes that that could be there or will be there. I think I am. I don't know. I'm slightly nervous that it's never going to heal properly. I was reflecting on this yesterday. I was talking to someone about it, and I remember having a girlfriend when I was 19, 20, my first year at uni, and her mum had this wound that had not healed, and she'd had it for years. And I think in the back of my mind, there's this sort of thinking like, what happens if this never properly heals now I've had it done? And yeah, so I think that's probably where I'm at the moment, that I'm in a sort of negative headspace around an injury or an operation that I don't see an end in sight.
Are you permitted to say where her wound was?
I've got no idea. I
Oh.
just remember it's just a memory of going to this girl's house
Mm-hmm.
and her meeting her mum and dad,
Mm-hmm.
and her mum was quite not frail, but just wasn't moving very well. Was sitting in a chair with a blanket on her legs. I think it was winter, and and then I remember her explaining to me, not the mum, but the girl I was seeing, explaining to me about her mum. And I just remember thinking at the time, that sounds horrendous. I don't want that.
Okay. All right. Um, so you have got this because it feels like it's quite prominent in your being because like what letter are we on? We're on U. 21st letter of the alphabet is 26, and every what episode did this start to happen?
I had the operation 10 weeks ago.
Oh,
So
right,
it
yeah.
must have been,
Right.
yeah, May, June.
Okay.
It feels like it's been most most episodes. We've
Yeah.
talked about it at some point.
So I feel like, you're, is it possible you're an embodiment? And this is relative to everyone's lives, people listening. It's relevant to me, what I'm about to say, which is we embody, we're an embodiment of, as we think, so we become, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of that. And I went back to the place where I first originally read it when I was up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful garden set in this amazing estate. It's I don't know if the word's ashram, it's a temple, it's a monastery, it's Buddhist. It's a beautiful Thai monastery, very authentic to the North Thai tradition of Buddhism, where they're forest monks. So they've got the woodland all around it, and you can just go and walk in the woodland and sit and just chill the fuck out. I love it. And I was popping by there after I'd been at the school to do some work, and I literally lay on the grass, and I was just like, oh my God, watching the clouds go by, just totally grounding myself because it was a long day in a hot school with some lovely, lovely students, but it was Friday and they were all just really amped to get the hell out of there. So it was a really beautiful day, ended by being there. And that's where I originally read that saying, as we think, so we become. And when I first originally came across that saying, because I'd never really heard of it before, it really resonated with me. As I think, so I become. So whatever I'm thinking, I will become it. And I really sort of let that ruminate, and I sat with it, and it's still to this day something I really, it's very much in the forefront of my everything. As I think, so I become. If I'm gonna feel grateful, I'm gonna, if I feel abundant, then that will translate into my physical form. If I feel sick, if I start to think I'm sick, I'll probably become, I'll be an embodiment of that thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that to anyone listening, that makes sense. But is it just pie in the sky? That's silly, or is it really got a lot of depth to it and a lot of strength to it? I believe it's very, very potent. Um, so is it possible that you've become an embodiment of your, don't know what to call it, ailment
Mm.
over the course of the time that you've been, I don't know. It's hard not to because it's on your physical body, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like just your thinking, like it's not anxiety, which can manifest in your body and be in your nervous system and make you have ailments anyway,
Mm.
possibly, but it's actually a physical, you know, um, entity on your body. So it's quite hard not to be an embodiment of that. But then how do we translate that in our emotional, mental, spiritual experience? Does that make sense? Have I gone too deep with that?
No, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think if you look at it in that sort of shape and form, there is the fact that I can't really feel it, and there is a numbing out because I
Mm.
can't see it. Sorry, I can't feel it, and then there's also the fact I can't see it.
The wound.
Yeah, it's behind. It's behind me. I
So you can't feel it.
can't feel it.
So there's no sense of like tenderness or, oh, this is right. So you can't feel it.
Mm-mm.
Is that because of the nerves?
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting one. I mean I've had some nurses say to me, well, it was a quite a it was it was quite a massive incision, and quite a deep incision. And so, you know, I've had people say, well, they've probably any nerve endings that were there have probably been cut. And then my mum, which is classic my mum, who's always looking for the, you know, the most straightforward answer. She spoke to a friend of hers, the nurse, and said, well, there's no nerve endings there, so that, you know, that's just nonsense. You wouldn't feel it anyway. And I'm like, well, isn't there nerve endings everywhere on your skin? You know, you can feel, you know, I can, if I scratch my arm, I can feel it. So surely if I scratch that area, I should be able to feel something, and I can't. And also, whenever it's being dressed, the nurses are like, can you feel this? And I'm like, no. And they say, well, most people when we're doing this are usually in quite a lot of pain because it's quite sensitive. So, you know, there is all that, is that I cannot feel it. So there's a numbness there. And I think that's always been something which I do neglect. So I have, the reason that it's taken this long to do it is neglect. There's a neglect to the body, that I don't really want to feel anything in my body. And then there's also the fact that I can't see it. You know, it's in an area of my body that I can't easily see without the help of lots of mirrors. And it's, so I think there's both of those things are, as you say, is sort of embodiment. As you feel something, as you see something. When we were talking earlier, and you're saying about being kind to your wrists, you know, your wrists are there. You know, you can see the veins, you can see
Yeah,
the blood pumping, and there's something, you know, there's much more tangible if you've got an injury on your hands
yeah.
or in your arms. It's like,
Visceral, is that the right
yeah,
word? Yeah, it's
yeah.
visceral, yeah.
Whereas this feels like something I have no control over,
Mm.
something I can't see and I can't feel. And it, yeah, and in that sense, that's giving me this sort of, you know, I just don't know what to do, sort of thing. That sort of feeling of like being ineffective or ineffectual or
Yeah,
just helpless.
okay. So I feel like you need to, I'm not saying telling you what to do here, just from my perspective, I feel that what would be um what's the word I'm looking for? Um what would be useful, if that's the right word, I don't know if that's the right word. What would be, I'm still quite, you know, I feel a bit drained today. That's my excuse for not finding the right word. What would be conducive to your situation, perhaps, would be to flip the narrative.
Yeah, I would like to, and I guess this is, I would like to be more aware. I'd like to know what's happened. I'd like to be more informed. And at the moment, I don't. I feel like everyone is not really sure what's going on.
S-
Hence the fact I'm getting all this different information.
So you talking about your wound right now?
Yeah,
Okay, so if we weren't talking about the wound, if someone had just tuned in, if someone just joined,
yeah,
or they'd walking away, whatever, and then they come back and then they've just picked this up and listened to what you just said, that you could have been talking about the global climate,
yeah, yeah,
right? Of what's going on in the world.
yeah.
Your arse wound,
Mm-hmm.
sorry to say it like that, I'm just trying to bring a bit of, you know, satire to the situation to lighten it up a bit for you, not for anyone listening, for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, is there is, I just feel like this is why I honestly believe that things happen for a reason, right?
yeah,
I really do.
yeah, yeah,
You know, that karma, we did karma
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we've done
last
karma.
one, was it last one?
No, no, ages ago now.
Anyway, we did it. Oh yeah, it was. It's ages ago. We did karma, and I do believe there's a lot in that, right? So for whatever reason, this is where I'm at in my life.
Mm.
This is where I'm at. This is where you're at. This is where anyone listening. This is where you're at, people. We're right where we're meant to be in life, as they say, right? And it's so annoying when people say that you're right where you're meant to be in your life, but it doesn't feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
There's always something on a deeper level there to look at, and it always comes back to the same thing. Is this an inconvenience? And I'm a victim, or do I flip the narrative to what can I get from this? What, you know, what can I learn from it? What can I gain from it to enrich myself, my experience and the world that I inhabit, and outwardly, what could I take from this and pass on to people outside of my experience to help them with their experience.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm saying flip the narrative and translate what you're going through into notes to write your book. That's what I think. Doesn't mean it's right for you, but that's how I interpret it. It's easy for me to say because I'm sitting here and I've got my hands on my buttocks and I can feel them,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't. So it's easy for me to say that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's easy for me to say that. And it's really, when people say that, oh, you're right where you're meant to be, what can you do with it? Flip the narrative. Don't be, what are you? Are you a victim of what's happening, or do you flip it into something that can really enrich your experience?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you grow from that. It's really easy for someone to say that to you, but when you're in it, it's like, shut the fuck up, man.
Mm.
That, quietly, you can easily say that in your head and be resentful towards that person that's pointing out so kindly that it's all right, man. It will pass. This too will pass. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think what comes up for me when you're talking like that is that impatience.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want it to be fixed now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be where I want to be now. And I don't think we ever, whether it's a diet, whether it's exercise, whether it's a level of understanding of anything, it we sort of think, well, if I do a week of this, I want to see, I want to
Mm-hmm.
see like I've got a six pack already, or I want to see that I've
Yeah.
lost 2 stone, or whatever it is,
Instant gratification.
instant gratification. And so it's very difficult to flip that script and to get out of that sort of you know ungrateful sort of like this is happening to me, I'm the victim,
Yeah.
I'm
And
being persecuted.
and that's where there's that like they say attitude versus gratitude, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where that attitude comes from. I'm not exempt from this, by the way. You know what I mean? Like that's where my attitude can come from when I'm not in that place of gratitude. I'm either in gratitude or I've got an attitude. It's that simple. So, what are we, people? What am I today? Am I gonna sit in an attitude of, you know, we don't need to go through it all, but I'm a victim. This is like dog shit. This is fucking crap. My life's over. What's the point? Oh, I might just, fuck it button, all of that stuff. Do I sit in that, or do I choose to not sit in that and go, right, what can I be grateful for, man? What have I got to be grateful for? Because when you've got that attitude of all the stuff I just said, you can't see any gratitude. You ain't got any. That's the problem. Now, I'm not saying that's you, Ben, because you're not like that. I know you're not that person. But because of what you're going through, and this is for everyone, including me, when shit happens to us, it's really easy to go from naught to freaking the world's going to end in a split second. It's really easy to do that. And again, I'm not exempt from that. So you got to catch it. And that's where, I always come back to it. Mindfulness, having a skill, developing the practice of mindfulness to be able to catch the as we think, so we become. Where am I in that? Where am I in that? If I as I think, so I become. Right. So if I'm thinking I've got loads of shit in my life, then that's what's going to be my life.
Yeah.
As we think, so we become. And if I can just find the little beauties, this is not pointed at you, Ben. This is just, I'm saying this is on a broad, this is for everyone, including me. If I can just find the little beauties, the little gems in my day, then my day is going to be great. It's going to be better, and my life is going to appear to be so. And all the gratitude floods in. I feel joy, happiness, a sense of well-being, because that's what it is. We're talking about well-being. I feel really freaking happy to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
The joy of existence is abundant. I feel great. Versus, oh, fucking hell, got to do this again. And I think, going back to what you said, that you was talking about what's going on for you in your physical body,
Mm-hmm.
as such a simile to the current climate of the global planet that we live in and all the people that are fucking it up
Mm.
versus the people that are doing their thing to not fuck it up. And it's kind of like, which one are you people? Are you in the gang of like, let's not fuck up the planet and ourselves versus let's just fuck ourselves up because I ain't give a real fuck about my life or anyone else. I'm being selfish and live fast, die young, you know?
Yeah. I think again, what's coming up for me there is ungratefulness can quite often lead to a level of being undisciplined.
Mhm.
And actually, how do you find that discipline? How do you give yourself those boundaries and that structure? And you talk about people, being consistent and going to the gym 3 times a week, or they have a pattern and a structure to their life. Whereas when you feel ungrateful, when you feel undisciplined, it's like, I've opened the packet of biscuits now. The
Mm.
whole thing's going to go. I've missed this deadline, or I've missed this session, so that's it. I've given up now. And it's that ability to, like you said, flip the script, know that it's never going to be a perfect journey, that there's going to be obstacles along the path all the time. But how do you keep a disciplined mind that says, okay, yep, I've missed this one. Next one, I'll just get back on it. And
Mm.
and I think that's a really difficult thing. And I know that both of us have worked with various people that it's just like, well, I've done it now, so let's just go all in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
and it's a difficult. Once you've sort of got in that mindset, it's a really difficult one to sort of steer back from.
Mm. I know some incredibly grateful, they really appreciate a lot in their lives. They appreciate themselves, which is an absolute Herculean, is that the word we use?
Mm,
Herculean, you know, task in itself
mm.
to really appreciate who you are, first and foremost. That's really important, that one.
Yeah.
Really important. How many people listening? Do you really, it's not a competition, by the way. Do
Yeah.
you do
First
you
person who can tell me how grateful I am for themselves.
do you appreciate yourself? Think about that for a minute and sit with it and just sit with it and ask yourself that question. You don't have to do it now. Take that away from this broadcast and contemplate it for a bit. Do I appreciate myself? You know?
And it is so much easier to sit there and make a list of everything that you're crap at, everything
Yeah.
you're bad at. Or sorry, I'm saying that out loud because I know that's where I go, and it's much, much easier to sit there and be really, really sort of degrade yourself and go, yeah, I'm rubbish at this. I can't do this,
Mm.
rather than go, actually, no, I'm really good at this. It doesn't sit easily in a British conversation. We're not boastful people. We don't sell ourselves very well. It's much easier to undersell and be underconfident and not appear the big I am.
Yeah. It's been drummed into our culture to yeah, boastful. It's boastfulness.
Mm,
We've covered that one. If you
mm.
haven't listened to it, go back. It's obviously letter B, second episode, boastfulness. So I feel culturally it's been drummed into us to not to not lift ourselves up in that way, which is what ultimately we have to do. If we're relying on everyone else in the world to lift us up, we're going to fall short because primarily that's what I was doing. I was putting my focus and energy and all my efforts into seeking validation in other people to lift myself up to be
Mm,
okay, right? And it fell short. It's not sustainable because going back to the question, when I look at myself in the mirror, do I value and appreciate who I am? Now, if I can't do that, and then I'm going outwardly to seek it in everyone else and things and people and places and, all of that stuff, which I endeavored to do for quite some time in my formative years. When I was doing that Herculean task of growing my self-worth and my self-esteem and my belief and my confidence in other things other than doing it for myself. I'd done that bit and
mm,
it didn't get me far, really. I might have had glimpses of bits and pieces here and there. People might have planted a seed to say, Dave, you're really great at that. Or, oh, I really like you, Dave, whatever. But I didn't believe it in myself.
mm,
It's like, what do you want? What was suspicious? Because I couldn't see it in myself.
mm,
Yeah. And now, you know, I think most of the, not more, most people that I know who have an incredible amount of gratitude in their lives that really appreciate who they are, where they've come from, what they've been through, and where they're at now, um, have been through something quite significant, like a huge wall that they've had to climb over, and they've, it's an arduous slog of an attempt just to get to the foot of the wall,
mm,
and then they were faced with this massive wall, and then they've managed to get over it, and they're on the other side of that wall, and I think that in itself cultivates an immense amount of appreciation and gratitude. I know a lot of people that have had to do that, myself included. That's why I've got an immense amount of appreciation for who I am, where I've come from, what I've had to endure. Um, and I'm a survivor of that. And that makes me pretty fucking special.
mm,
No more special than anyone else listening, by the way, because you lot are all special too. And if you don't feel, if you don't relate to what I'm talking about, if you don't have that, what I'm talking about, you might just have that, in a sense, really measured, healthy,
mm,
beautiful um, sense of what I'm talking about. Gratitude, self love, appreciation, all of that stuff. You might have it anyway. So that's great. You haven't had to go through the slog to get there. But if you're anything like me and you have done that, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, if you're listening and you don't feel like that and you're in the mess of it all, it's okay. Don't give up. Like, there is this other, there is another way of being. This isn't just for, I said I'm special. It's not like it's unattainable. Like, it's for everyone. But there is some work required. There is some work required. You've got to sort of do a little bit of self-reflection. You've got to get honest with yourself and go, look, I'm in a bit of a pickle here. I'm in a bit of a pickle and I need to I don't want to be like this. If you have one little inch of, um, if you've got a bit of wriggle room in your being to even want to maybe explore a different way where you're not feeling shit every day, then fucking go for it.
mm. I mean, I think it makes me think of the fact that the exhibition that we went to see makes me think of Kurt. Like he was appreciated and was valued by millions and millions of people,
Mm.
but it didn't translate into him
Mm.
feeling appreciated. It didn't create a sense of appreciation in himself. He obviously still had a lot of self-loathing, had a lot of demons. He couldn't cope with that level of appreciation, didn't want that level of scrutiny. And there must have been something eating him alive. It must have been something just not registering for him in that. Like, he wanted to play music. He wrote incredible songs. There was it's that whole sort of difficult thing when people see someone like that, who for all intents and purposes had their dreams come true. They have everything in the palm of their hands. I don't think we can ever really see what the demons are that are sort of tearing people apart. And it never quite makes sense when someone like that, who we can only see the talent and we can only see the sort of outside shell, when they do what they do. And yeah, it doesn't make sense to a lot of people. But I think for me, what it shows is that someone is not happy in their own skin. It doesn't matter how many people tell you you're great. If it doesn't feel real, it doesn't feel right, then it's not going to fill the hole.
Mm. Yeah. Um, and you're talking about Kurt there, of what we know of him,
Yeah,
because does anyone really know what was going on for him?
yeah, exactly.
Even Kurt, who knows? Who knows? We're just speculating it. And there's a lot of documentaries, and there's a lot to suggest that what's being said, that possibly there's something in what you were saying. But um, I'm just relating that to, a lot of other cases that I've, been part of, where, including myself, really, where if if you're if you're suffering, and that's the broadest way to put it, suffering being, things that you've been through in life that have caused you, immense discomfort, pain, heartache, sorrow, sadness, um, you know, just, traumatic experiences that are just really, really not nice, whatever, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter how big or small. And they stay with us, what do we do with that? And if that's not processed, it's passed on.
Mm,
Or to put it another way, if it's not transformed, it's transmitted.
mm,
So what I mean by that is, it's generational. Who's hurt you?
yeah,
Who's hurt you? Because it trickles down. So who's hurt you in your formative years for you to then hurt yourself? And then if you don't process that, you're going to pass that on. And you might be doing it subconsciously. You don't mean to do it. We're not bad people. But where in our lives have we been affected by someone else's suffering that they've not transformed? So they're transmitting it down to us. And then if we don't process that stuff, we're going to pass that on somewhere down the line. And it goes on and on and on. And that's the family tree, if you want to call it that. The the generational lineage of suffering that is cyclical, that perpetuates until you change it.
yeah. I think there's a lot of people that get stuck. I mean, it's what we were talking about earlier, in that you start, it's like once you've started, it's like, well, that's it. I can't change it now. And, I'd argue a lot that we aren't very good as a society either of letting people change. I th- and I think we aren't allowing people to say I've messed up here. I want to change. I want to be different. And I mean, yeah, I think we're not always good at forgiving. We're not always good at going, okay, once that trust has been broken in someone, it's really difficult, really, really difficult to then trust that they are going to be different. And I think that works on a personal level, and that works on a, on a mass level as well. I think
Yeah.
it's really difficult, and definitely the older you get, it's like, right, well, that's who you are now. You're not allowed to sort of become something different. And it is dependent on what you've done. There are things that it's almost impossible to come back from. But I also think as humans, 99.9% of us are trying to do our best and are trying to do the right thing and deserve that opportunity to try again. It's really difficult with the addict brain for us not to get stuck in a loop, for not to end up repeating the same patterns over and over again. But a lot of that has to come from collective, I think, has to come from people around you saying, yeah, I'm going to give you another chance. I think you can do better. I think you can be a more positive person, and trying to build that. It's definitely something the majority of people, I don't think, have that discipline to do it on their own.
Yeah, it requires a village.
Yeah.
It's so, it's a common term used, but it's true. Yeah, it's a tough one, man. I was just like, reflecting back on, unappreciation, ungratefulness, and I can still get it. I keep saying it. I'm not exempt. I'm a human being that has, I'm a highly complex, sensitive individual that has to go outside and do life. And I get caught up sometimes in situations where I can have a sense of attitude that blocks any hope for me to feel like I've got a sense of well-being, you know? And I've had to work on that, man. I really have. You know what I was saying earlier? I've had to do it. And it does work. There's a saying, it works if you work it. So work it, you're worth it. Anyone listening, you might not have heard that, but that's from certain genres of well-being support groups. But it's true, it works if you work it. So work it, you're worth it. Now, if you don't feel that you're worth it, then that's fucked it straight away. It's debunked the whole thing. Yeah. And I think what we're talking about, this topic, the one that you've chosen today, Ben, ungratefulness, unappreciation, whichever way you want to put it. I mean, it is connected to, as always, there's some crossovers, to a lot of other stuff that have a influence on what we're talking about. Yeah. Already said about the attitude thing, where's my head at? Is my head. Look, I'll tell you what, right? This is what I normally say. To put it really simply, are you in your head or in your heart? That's it. End of episode.
Mic drop.
Yeah. Because, mic drop. Bomb. Because that's what it is. Now, with my work, what I always bring it back to is where you at. Are you in your head or your heart? A lot of people don't know how to be in their heart. That's where the gratitude lives. That's where appreciation is. It's embodiment. It's a it's fucking love, man. You know what I mean? It's all linked, right? So if you don't like yourself much, if the love for yourself is quite barren, as it was for me, then forget it. How can I be grateful? What have I got to be grateful for? Now you can go and get the car, you can go and get the model girlfriend, you can get the freaking the cash, the zeros, the peas, man. You can go and get the freaking faded haircuts and the leather shoes and the fucking, don't forget to not wear the socks with people. You can wear all that stuff. I'm from Essex, by the way, so I'm allowed to say that. Um, you know, you can get all that stuff, but it's the stuff, man. When you're lying in bed at night and you take all that stuff off, apart from the faded haircut, I'm not having a dig at fades here. I've just got this image in my head, right?
Okay.
And because I'm half Essex, I think I've gone back to there.
Right.
So please forgive me, anyone. I don't mean to offend, all right? Fades are pretty fucking cool, all right? I just don't suit them. Otherwise, I'll be celebrating it. But anyway, look, point is that you can take all that stuff off, right? Stuff. Take all the stuff off. It all falls away. When you're lying in bed at night, or you look at yourself in the mirror, what's looking back? And do you like it? And if you don't like what you're looking at, then it's quite likely that all that stuff that you put down at night to go to bed, so you've got to use that stuff to have any sense of, oh, I feel really grateful, feel really abundant because I've got all this stuff around me. But that stuff's just stuff. It's not sustainable. Am I going too off here with this? Am I riffed completely? I've managed to offend the whole of Essex.
With their faded haircuts.
But I am half Essex. My mum was born in Romford, right? So anyone that's got to dig at me, I'm with you.
Okay. It makes me think of one of my favorite books when I was a kid, which was called Benjamin's 365 Birthdays. Now, obviously, I loved it because it had the same name as me, but it was basically this dog called Benjamin, and he had a birthday, and he got loads of stuff, he got loads of presents. And he said, "This is brilliant." He said, "But why do I only get it one day a year?" And so then the rest of the book is him giving himself a present basically every day.
Yeah.
And then he realizes actually it loses all significance and loses all meaning, and it's all just stuff, and he doesn't feel as special. So
Yeah.
it's about working through getting away from the stuff.
Yeah. The stuff, the eyebrows,
Yeah.
getting your legs waxed. I'm talking about guys here,
Yeah.
right? And you can grow your hair, guys, long like like Adonis and all of that. I'm covering myself because I had a dig at fades.
Yeah.
Growing your hair long, and you got the women love the long hair, and you got the long hair, and but that you're getting all that validation because you feel good, you look good. Yeah, I look good. And then but you go home and you're back in your digs, and you go to bed. You can have your love of your life sitting next to you or lying next to you at night, and the light goes off and you're in your head. Where are you at in your head? Where are you at in your head? Do you like your life? Do you feel gratitude? Do you feel it in your heart? Getting back to what I was saying, this is where I was going with this. I riffed completely, went right off on one. But where do you feel it? Is all that gratitude just like on your driveway? Is it in your bank? Or is it in the porch on the floor and you got fucking 10 pairs of them? All designer. Yeah. Or in your heart, and you feel immense sense of just that glow. It's a warm, fuzzy feeling you get. Everyone must have experienced that in their life at least once. Maybe.
Of like being fully loved, of being fully embodied.
Just that glow, that sense. I always put my hand on my heart,
Mm.
when I say it, because that's where I do. I put my hand on my heart. I cultivate this. I really do. I put my hand on my heart and I breathe into it and I feel the glow. It's love. It's an embodiment and it's pure, fucking unadulterated, clean, no dirty come down, ecstatic euphoria of
And that's
being, a sense of being.
in a sense of self. It's in it's in you, as opposed to you needing a significant other to feel that love.
It's just me,
Yeah.
a being. Me being with myself, hand on my heart, breathing. There's a connectiveness to that of my sense of self, right? And then outwardly, I can be like that towards other people, right? And I've said this before on here. Metta, which is love and kindness, which is a practice um, for meditation. It's a focus point instead of your breath. You can settle into your breath and then you put your attention to love and kindness for yourself. Now, I was instructed when I started doing this to put my hand on my heart because some people can't feel it when it's lip service. Like, may I be happy, may I be at ease, may I be free from suffering, may I be well. And you say that over and over like a mantra, right? And it's true, when I first started doing it, I didn't really feel that connection to my heart space. I was too in my head,
Mm-hmm.
words, no different to the pairs of shoes you got in your porch or in your wardrobe, all them fucking handbags or clothes that we kind of probably don't need. But that'll be all right because it, it makes my life better, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's this material stuff, man. What I'm talking about. And I'm not judging anyone when I say this. That was me. I'm talking about me here. Yeah. Everything I've been saying on it, that's me. Right? And but when I put my hand on my heart, I couldn't feel that. I couldn't feel that when I started doing this, when I started to learn to do this, to practice it, to try it. Because look, do I want to be a victim, feeling like shit, hating on myself, not liking my life very much, not feeling like I'm in my body or have any sense of ease within my experience? Or do I want to change that? Well, I want to fucking change that. I don't want to be like that. I want to feel happy. I want to feel connected to myself. I want to have a good sense of self-esteem. I want to have confidence, self-belief, all of that stuff. Not ego. Ego's your head. I
Mm.
don't want. I've tried that one. All that ego stuff. I'm not going to go into a rant again, but all that ego stuff, it's just what my head, it wants. That's it. My heart wants something different. It just wants to be happy. So, you got to cultivate it. I'm getting pretty deep here, but fuck it. I can't hold back.
It's just such a it's such a simple practice, which again requires discipline and requires consistency. And I know it's something that I struggle with. For you're talking about a practice that you have worked on and done for maybe 15 years now.
Yeah, 15-ish.
So I think that's the other thing is to realize that it's not an overnight. It's not, oh right, well I've said these things to myself, put my hand on my heart, don't feel different. What's the problem? What's the point? No, this is all nonsense. It's a practice that requires uh repetition, and it's something that I know I can fall in and out of. So I think in my excuse me, in terms of what I'm, in terms of me doing those kind of things, it's been a couple of years.
Mm.
And so I still find it very easy to fall out of that practice of going, yeah, I'm grateful for this. I'm still able to fall into those pits of despair, of going, I feel really ungrateful, not even consciously that I'm feeling ungrateful, just that I just feel rubbish and I'm feeling this, and why can't I do this? And that ability to not look at the situation and go, right, just start chipping away in a different, just start sort of pulling yourself up rather than just constantly falling down.
Mm.
And what can I do on a daily basis, and it's not, again, it's not like, right, tomorrow I'm going to do this and I'm going to do an hour of yoga in the morning, then I'm going to do an hour of journaling, and then I'm going to do a 3-mile hike, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to only eat mung beans, and I'm just going to, it's I think that's how we picture it. It's an all, oh, sorry, I always do this. I put it out there as everyone else, and actually it's just me. This is how I see it, and this is how I work it, is that if I can't do all of those things, then I'm a failure.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm not good enough.
And then that just amplifies the sense of ungratitude.
Yeah.
Ungratefulness, sorry, ungratitude. Does that work? Yeah, then yeah, and then you just spiral more and more into that self-loathing.
Yeah,
Because I feel that ungratefulness, there is some self-loathing to that.
definitely.
It's got to be,
Definitely. Yeah.
right? And look, I was getting on one, right? I really went into one about the whole material stuff, right? Clothes, haircuts, money, cars, you know, the right person on your arm, trophy person, the right job, right, you know, um, gadgets, holidays, all of that stuff, right? And you can be you can be happy with that stuff. You can still be someone that has immense appreciation for yourself and have all that stuff, of course. But at the end of the day, if you was to remove it all, is it sustainable? How are you getting it other ways? You know, what are you doing in your life to to have a sense of well-being in your life,
Mm.
right? Is it all just material, or are you doing stuff, the simple things, you know? Like that, right, okay, so the drum making.
Yeah, yeah,
Let me go back to that, right?
yeah,
So I'd been up in City, as you know, I was with you in London. We walked down Bond Street, didn't we? We walked from
yeah.
Mayfair, and we were surrounded by it, by it, by it. It was like being on the Death Star. The stormtroopers all marching around,
Yeah, yeah.
looking for their next fix. Ah, dripping in it, dripping
Yeah.
in gold, dripping in it. It was just quite something. I mean, where I live now, I mean, I've not been around that for a while. And anyway, it was, it's very obvious that it's a lot of wealth around there, man. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no doubt that some of them experience fleeting moments, or maybe a lot of them have a lot of appreciation for the amount of wealth they've got and all the lovely little things they've got in their lives, and the holidays and all of that stuff. I'm not judging them at all. Observation, right?
Mm.
Anyway, and then I end up in the woods. I always go back to the woods.
Yep.
And I end up at the woods, man. Like, a week later, I'm in the woods, right? So, park up, meeting point. And then, I joined the group. There's a lovely group. There's 10 of us. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like this amazing, amazing woman who makes these drums. I'm gonna say her name, right? So it's Dory Joy, I think it is. Look her up. She's an incredible woman, absolute badass of a woman, incredibly gifted and skilled at drum making. And I have no doubt she's incredibly amazing at doing a lot of other stuff. But it was like her and 9 of us, right? So there's 10 of us, and there was a little pack. So here's the little lone wolf
Mhm.
turning up, and he's got his pack of wolves. And I'm like, yes, I'm in the pack, and it was amazing. We go into the woods. So what we did a little grounding exercise just to preempt ourselves to connect to the woodland, right? So it's like shoes off. This is complete polar opposites to Bond Street, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So I
We,
pulled up
we
in
were
my
we were literally melting on Bond Street. It was
yeah.
so hot. Yeah.
So I pulled up in my Lamborghini in the woods, right?
Yeah.
Kicked off my loafers, my
Yeah.
crocodile loafers.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I'm only joking. I haven't got Lamborghini or crocodile loafers. Okay, so anyway, so we're grounding. So shoes off, we're in the woods, and we're connecting to, you know, we're connecting. And in single file, we walk in silence. And we don't know where we're really going. Some of them had already been there because they were local people. And we were walking. I had no clue to really where we was going. And we walked through the woodland and down some trails. And it was just amazing. You know, it was really, really beautiful. And then we come to a clearing. And then there's this like clearing. And it's like this, it was called the Nest. And it was this dome sort of structure built out of wood, and it had a skylight, and it's just amazing. It was round. It sort of looked to me like it was like some modern day wooden teepee,
Mhm.
but on a big scale. And that's where we was gonna mainly be and do most of the drum making. And it was just I remember there was a moment where we because we're working with all the elements, so hides. So mine's a buffalo hide, which
Mhm.
is from North America, and then we're using wood, and we've got tools because we've got to punch holes in the skin to thread the to thread like strips of. We had to cut the hide to sort of sew it,
Mhm.
literally, you know, to put it together to make the drum, to weave it. A bit like basket making kind of vibes, right? Anyway, there was a moment where there was a group. We were all out, sort of just sort of sitting in our little spots. We all gravitated to spots where we could sit and do the tap 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 tap. And I just remember there was a moment when I'm tap tap tapping, and all you could hear is tap 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 from all around. And I looked up and I'm looking around and I'm like, fuck, this is like, you know. And I've done some mad shit, and I've done some lots of cool shit in my life, you know. And some of it material, like proper material, and some, yeah, this was primitive. Like this dates back as old as fire itself. Drums.
Mhm.
It's one of the first things that we learnt to communicate with.
Mhm.
Apparently, I think I got that right. Please forgive me if I've got that wrong. But anyway, and so we're connecting to that, you know, proper heart shit. Right? Not in my head, not thinking about anything outside of that space. I'm just really in the moment, really in flow. Right? Tap tap tap, and I look around and I'm like, this is the nuts, man. This is what it's about. I said to someone, I turned to someone who was near me, and I said, I want to do this every day. Oh, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to do this. This is fucking the nuts. You know, I'm just sitting there barefoot, you know, just with my feet on the ground. I can feel the ground. I'm tapping away on a drum, you know, on the skin, preparing to make a drum. And it just felt really simple, stripped of anything. It was just boom. Sorry if I'm boring anyone, but I'm just saying that, you know, there's stuff like that, experiences. For me, that's a life experience, you know, life affirming experience now. I feel like I've done all the other, I've done the other way of doing it. You
Yep.
know, I've done the, you know, you know, I've done the trying to find the thing that's going to make me feel like, you know, I'm trying to find my mojo, the thing that's going to complete me, the thing that's going to make me feel like I have purpose, the thing that's going to make me feel like I'm relevant,
Mm.
you know. Um, and I went through a whole journey to try and find it. I never found it. And I hit that wall, climbed over the wall, started to try things in a different way because that way didn't work. Got the evidence. Now you know, I'm in the woods barefoot, tapping holes in skin to make a drum. and and that to me is I found it.
And I think there's something really beautiful about that whole, I mean, you use the word primitive, but there's something about you barefoot doing something tactile with your hands. And it doesn't sound to me, I mean, yes, there were other people there, but it doesn't even sound like it was because there were other people there. It was because you were doing something that was you. That was like you didn't need other people to help you. You can work on something yourself and be be in yeah, in your own head, if you like, but also you're doing something physical, so it's the head and the body working together. And I think, yeah, I think that's really beautiful. And I do think it goes back to that idea of primitive life.
Village.
Yeah, of just being uh really yeah, I'm going to call it, it's simple. It's a simple way of being that isn't overcomplicating, that isn't about relying on other people, isn't about stuff, it isn't about collecting more wealth, collecting more items for your museum that's going to exist when you're no longer on this world. It's about experiences.
Mm,
It's about, yeah, it's about actually embodying something.
mm,
And I think that's, yeah, I think that's really beautiful.
yeah. And how can you be ungrateful when you're doing stuff like that? Now, if you've got a head full, you wouldn't be there. I don't think you'd actually be in that doing what I just described if you got to be in a certain place in your life to want to be in that, to put yourself in that in the first place.
Mm,
Now, everyone that I met there was beautiful in their own way. Amazing group of people. Never met them before. But when I left, I felt like we had to do a checkout, and it's like, how do you feel? And I'm like, I feel an immense amount of appreciation, accomplishment, connectivity, you know, just, just it was magical. But there's a sadness to it because I know that this moment is near at the end.
mm.
And I have the drum to take away, which is amazing to remind me of that time. And I've got another happy place that I can go to when I need to. And every time I hit that drum, it's going to remind me of that time I had. And but I've come back here, and I do. There's a sadness. I checked in with it. I feel like you know, that pack. The lone wolf leaves the pack,
Mm,
and I'm like, I want. That's what I meant. I want to do this every day.
mm,
I want to be like we've gone so far in evolution that I, a lot of people go, yeah, but we've already done that part of evolution. We're here now. Like we don't need to live like that because we're so advanced. We can live like this.
mm,
And I had someone who I actually mentor say to me just the other day, a very intelligent young man, really beautiful soul, right? And we was talking about this, about how we're in this digital age. Because what I experienced, there was no phones. Didn't look at my phone all day. Turned it off. I've had my phone off pretty much since. Actually, I haven't wanted to put it back on.
I know, I text you and I got no response till the next day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So and being on here, actually being on the screen is okay. I'm finding it all right because I haven't been on for a while. But I've made that intention. I've set it to actually really reduce my screen time and everything to do with my phone stuff. I want to peel away from it even more,
Mm,
and more than I already am. Because being in that, working on the land with my hands with people is where I want to be at. I really mean that. I really feel like I need to do it, and I've got a lot to contemplate being back here now because you know, is it possible to do it? Well, you can do that anywhere, but there was something really special about that. It was a real something really. It inspired me. I was
mm.
inspired. I felt inspired. And how can you be ungrateful when you feel inspired, you know?
Mhm.
Anyway, I lost my thread there, but I don't know where I was going with that. But
Well, I mean, picking up from that, I think it's a real dilemma. I think, we're in the 21st century. We have this technology. Lots of it can be amazing and can do really great things.
mm,
And if I just think it's about how we use it. And it isn't this all or nothing. It's not like we need to go back to a primitive world. We need to
yeah, of
destroy all
course.
computers. But it's just, but it's kind of, we get in that mindset because we're either, it's either like you totally want screens to dominate your life or you don't. And
Mm,
actually, it's like, yeah, I can go online once a day, or I can go and have a conversation with someone. Like my sister came yesterday to visit, and it's 10 weeks since this operation. And so I've pretty much been housebound. I went up to town. That was the first time I've been up to town with you. It's the first time I was in London. The heat was ridiculous and didn't help at all. And we walked miles, and yeah, it was a tiring day, but a really, really great day. But that was the first time I've been up to town. And so I feel like my world has really shrunk. And so, digital connection is pretty much all I've had. But seeing my sister in the flesh yesterday, and just having the ability to just give her a really big hug, she's going through some really tough stuff at the moment. And it was just lovely to have that connection, as it
mm,
was lovely to see you in the flesh, because we live far apart, and it's not, we don't see each other that regularly, face to face. So it's about the balance, I think. And it's not about saying all technology is bad and we need to get rid of it.
mhm.
It's not about saying we need to go back to existing in a tiny village with nothing, although that is quite, I do sort of sway more to that side than I do to the,
Very appealing to me.
yeah. And disconnecting. I just think it's about finding a healthy balance.
Mm,
And again, it goes back to that. If I'm not feeling good about myself, if I'm not feeling grateful for what I have, if I'm feeling undisciplined and unloved, then sometimes getting that affirmation, the only way is to end up scrolling through mindless nonsense for hours, or whatever your fix is. It could be tubs of ice cream. It could be, I'm just trying to think what, yeah. I'm saying mine again. I'm just going to mine. My it could be I'll going to just buy loads of chocolate. It's like, how do I get my fix because I'm just feeling like bleh.
yeah.
And actually, it's about finding that balance in life. It's about finding the positive and the negative. Like, you can't have, every day can't be a drum workshop, you know, because if every Benjamin's 365 birthdays, if every day of the year was a drum workshop, you'd be like, oh, a bit bored of this now. What do I do now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's about finding those things that replenish you and give
Mm.
you that energy on a regular basis, that isn't, but also appreciating the times where you're not in a drum workshop.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. I love what you said there, and it's good. And I just remember why I brought up that I was saying about I was speaking to that young man who I mentor, very intelligent and lovely soul, and we had a conversation about where we've come from, you know, because he was pretty much we was talking about generations,
Hmm.
and because I think he's like a fifth generation Etonian or something. Anyway,
Okay.
um, but he was talking because I've helped him, but he's taught me so much. I mean, I've learned so much from him. And he was saying, because we was talking about the whole generations of tech users and how they use it. And he was saying something that really stuck with me, and it was really enlightening. He was saying that it's quite obvious once he said it that me and you, Ben, we're of an era where we've come from. you analog,
Hmm.
you know, or non-tech world, 70s. It was analog, wasn't it? And then there is no other time like this that's ever been like this in this with this technology where we've gone from, because we are the guinea pigs basically. Everyone that's alive in this time, in this era of tech evolution, we are just trying to figure out how to use the tech in a healthy way. And this is coming from this dude, he's in his early 20s, was saying, like, he's of a generation where it's normal to do your messaging on social media apps as opposed to just normal phone messaging. Um, Whereas for me, it's not, that's peculiar to do that, you know, especially when you don't have any social media like I don't. So, but then he says, as the time goes on, as we progress and generations come through, the old, that analog is just going to get further and further away. Tech's going to be more prominent, and it's just going to be really normalized, even more than it is now, because it is pretty normalized, isn't it?
Mm.
But we're going to get to a point where it is just really, really normal for any young person to just be. There is going to be no problem with tech because it's what we've got, and there's nothing else to do than other than the tech thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And it was just quite I reflected on that. But I'm like, but if I'm still alive, and I will be, I'm sure, because it's happening at such a rapid pace, doing drum making and stuff like that reminds me that, like you said, I don't have to, I can use maybe some of the positives. We can do this, we can speak to each other, we can speak to our loved ones, nearest and dearests, if we're not, if we're far away from them, whatever. There's many perks, but I don't have to live within it, and I don't have to be defined by it
Yeah.
and lose myself within it. Like, and that drum making has made me reconnect to more than ever to, I used to, as you know, I used to be a hairstylist, and I used to cut
Mm.
hair and all that stuff. And it's made me really want to work with hair again, because I used to do a lot of braiding and a lot of styling and creating like avant-garde kind of style hairs for creative. And I'm not saying I'm going to throw myself back into a career doing that. I've already done that, but it really made me want to, be with people working with my hands
Yeah,
more
yeah.
than so I'm always going to do what I do with my mentoring and my consultancy, blah blah blah, all of that stuff, and what we're doing with this and being a speaker, whatever, and writing books, whatever. But on the side, you know, just to make me feel, connected in my heart space, I want to be doing things, working with my hands, because it's, for me, it's meditation.
Mm.
And you know, I had a new amp delivered when I was away,
Yep.
and it's incredibly good. It's so nice and clean, and oh my God, I've got like all my pedals, and so I'm going to endeavor to fade out, like zoning out and watching movies and documentaries and all that. I'll still watch them, but I want to be in my studio more, creating, because hands,
Yeah, yeah.
meditation, it's sound, I'll do it anyway, but I really want to immerse myself in it even more. So yeah, that's for me where the good stuff is,
Nice.
keeps my
Nice.
sense of well-being optimized.
Yeah. I think there is something really powerful about connecting the head and the hands. And I think, or maybe I know, because when I draw, you, we've talked about this before, but that idea of the flow, where
Yeah.
you hit flow and time just disappears because you've spent, I don't know, 5 hours sitting there noodling away on a guitar, or 6 hours drawing, or whatever it is, but time becomes irrelevant. And there's
Mm,
something really powerful about that. And as you said, it is a meditation, it's a connection. And I never come away from something like that feeling worse. I
mm,
always come away feeling, oh, there's a little bit of a buzz. There's something like a little bit connected there for me,
mm.
definitely.
amplified.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, not just me, not just
Pure
sonically.
electricity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not just sonically. You know, like amplified. You know, what am I plugging into to amplify my human experience? You know, am I just plugging into? Am I zoning out? You know, or am I tuning in and uplifting and my vibration and my experience? Um, you know, I said earlier about am I in my head or in my heart? You know, if you're in your head a lot, if you're anything like me, if I'm in my head a lot, I will experience more anxiety, more stress, more uncertainty, um, more fear. You know, all of that stuff will be more prevalent if I'm in my head too much. I'm
Mm.
overthinking, all of that stuff, right? It's tiring to be in your head,
Yeah.
right? So it makes sense why getting out of my head is something that I was good at, and I used to do it in a very different way. You know, getting out of your head. That's why there's the saying, "Get out of my head." I'm gonna get out of my head tonight. Oh, I'm gonna get out of my fucking head. You know, it's that literally getting out of my head because my head is quite noisy. Formative years, right? Um, very rarely was I able to be in my heart. I was in my head too much. It was very chaotic, so I'd get out of my head. Enter addiction and a chemical romance
Stage
to
right.
get, you know, escapism, whatever, right? Now, today, you know, I still need to get out of my head because being in my head, you know, you don't want to be in your head too much, right? You want to be in your heart. So how am I going to be in my heart? This is what I say to people, all the young mavericks. You in the head or your heart? And they know what I'm talking about. I have to teach them about it. But like, you know, there's ways of being in your heart. I mean, just been banging on about it, you know, making drums, playing guitar, you know, anything that's gonna make you feel in flow, like you put, is gonna make you feel like you're
Mm.
in your heart space, right? Um, are you in your head or your heart? And how are you getting out of your head? Is it comfortable being in your head? Well, great. If it is, great, you ain't got a problem. But if it's chaotic, what are you doing with that? Are you just getting out of your head in a way that I said in formative years? Or are you able to come from your headspace into your heart and in your body, be in your body? And what does that feel like? And are you able to do it? And there's lots of ways of doing it. We've got to take accountability for that stuff. Anyway, that's what I think. And I think when you're in your heart, you're not going to feel unappreciative, ungrateful.
Yeah.
I think,
I think on the back of that, for me, it's a term we've used a lot, but it's whether you're going to get into your heart in a skillful way or an unskillful way.
mm,
And the unskillful way is to end up, you know, uh, doing things that are going to ultimately end up damaging you further.
yeah,
And the skillful way is to get into stuff that requires skill.
yeah, absolutely. And just a disclaimer here, but I'm not talking about going on Tinder to be in your heart. Or any other dating app, sorry. There are plenty of dating apps,
Mm.
not just that one. And I'm not saying it just because I said that it's a bad thing. I know people who got married on that application. But I'm just saying, you know, being in your heart doesn't mean you're a savage love addict. You
and
know what I
on
mean?
and on that note,
Yes. All right. I think we've got an episode full of me rambling, ranting, feeling very unregulated in what I'm talking about because I'm so shot to pieces, tired. How do you feel it went?
yeah, I'm going to apologize for picking a word that we've already done, but with an "un" in front of it. But I do think we went in a different direction, so I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, and I think the
Sorry, not sorry, I guess is what I just said.
yes, and the I think yeah, gratitude was early on in the alphabet, obviously, and used down the other end. So hopefully there's enough distance between the two. I feel that, I don't know, I feel a little bit, yeah, just a little bit, just not fully, feel sleepy, you know, quite spacey. Mellow. I said mellow earlier. I think mellow and spacey. So please forgive me if I've triggered anyone or you or or said anything that was a bit whack. But hey ho, I'm just human and don't always get it right.
No, I don't think you've got anything to apologise for. But
Okay.
yeah, thank you. I think that was good. Good episode. And it
Good.
was nice to connect again back on here. It's been a while since we've done an episode. So yeah, it's good to get back in the swing of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Likewise. Cool, Mr. Ice. All right. Well, look, that's another letter, another episode. We are slowly getting towards end of first season.
The danger letters. I'm calling them now because I'm not quite sure what we're going to do for the some of these
STUB.
these X's and
Yeah.
these Y's. The Y's is okay, I think. I don't know. Try not to look.
Yeah. I think we've got something for every one of them.
I mean, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
one word for some of them.
Yeah. If anyone, right, so look, if anyone listening can be asked, right, we've got an email address called, and it's join us at thevelvetrevolutionpod.com, right? XYZ, right? XYZ. If you can think of anyone, please, right? Because we need some help here. Anyone got any ideas for the XYZ? Please email, join us at thevelvetrevolutionpod.com. Because I think we're going to need a little bit of help with them. And if you don't, no offense taken.
If not, we'll do gratitude again.
I never want to do that one ever again. Right on. Okay, look, have a good day, or night, evening, whatever time it is, people. And you too, Ben.
Yeah, and you, Dave, have a good rest of the day.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
mate. See you on the next one.
See you then.
Ta-ta.